technology we like to use socially is now making a move into the corporate space, which means that business-to-business clients are no longer wanting to fly and pay for business class, but have an economy class experience. They don't want to trade superior social technology for worse corporate interfaces when they do their banking. And this is the argument that these technology trends are not just consumer trends, but through consumerization, they're highly relevant for those of you in B2B banking. Mobilized consumerization. We're not just digitizing our minds, they're also mobilizing increasingly. Let me share some quick research, and it comes down to how we think about our money when we listen to our gut feel. The question was posed, how much money do you spend on XYZ in your household? And then they audited what people actually did. So when people say, I spent $100 on transport, on SL last month, or on our cars, the real audited amount for Australians was $104. But it gets more worrying. When we say we spent $100 at IKEA last month, the real audited amount was $132. When we say we spent $100 at the pub last night, honey, the real audited amount was $158. And never ever have your management conferences in Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen, because $100 equates to $735. When we listen to our gut instinct in the context of money as consumers, we suck. This is why mobilized real-time data for your clients in beautiful interfaces is going to be key in the future. Let me tell you the story of Raj. Raj is an Indian fisherman in Kerala, India. For generations, his fathers, his uncles, his forebears have gone out to sea to catch the cod or the toshk in the ocean. He's always had the choice of 11 different harbors along the Kerala coastline to take his catch of the day back to. Oftentimes, though, he's listened to his gut feel. Now, do you think the pricing is always going to be the same based on demand and supply in 11 different harbors? Or do you think there might be some differences? One day, he picked up a Nokia 1100 because he's figured out that Bharti Airtel had coverage up to 25 kilometers from the shoreline. His fishing waters, 22 kilometers from the shoreline. This enabled him to start making phone calls to his mates in the 11 different harbors and seeing what the commodity price for his goods would be by the time he would get back at the end of the day, essentially enabling him to lock in futures contracts for his goods. He started making different decisions. And The Economist and the Quarterly Journal of Economics got a hold of the story of what was happening with Raj and his mates as his mates saw that he was making more money by using a mobile interface. And they saw that net yields over the course of a year for those who adopted the new mobile technology went up 8%, and the price to the consumer went down 4%. If you're an economist, which I hope some of you might be, you should be having sort of finance goosebumps right now. What do we use mobile interfaces for? Snapchat and Tinder. But this is changing the lives of smart business people, and the user interface on a Nokia 1100 is very, very less sophisticated than what we have at our disposal today. And the consumer of tomorrow is expecting better digitization and visualization of our finances and our blood, sweat, and tears. We know the seamlessness of new technologies that are coming in over the top, disrupting highly regulated industries like the taxi industry, like Uber, for example, where really the payment has become a non-event. And we access a beautiful interface in real time, on demand, where we can make smarter decisions. Today, when I deal with my clients in the American Midwest, in big agriculture, what's really noticeable is that now old MacDonald doesn't just have a tractor, he also has a smartphone. And we know that mobile interfaces are now critical to consumer and customer acquisition. They're using technologies in new ways. Many of you might be using something like Box to store files and collaborate in the cloud. This company was heavily invested into in Silicon Valley when it just had 20 employees competing with the likes of EMC and Microsoft. Why? Because they used and designed their interface based on design thinking around the customer first, mobile first. And they found that when people started using socially their technology, their software as a service on their iPhones or their Android devices, they would go to work and ask their IT colleague, please support us to use Box. Consumer technology increasingly moving into the corporate environment, and again, this impacts the way they think about their access and interfaces with you. Consumer technology impacting our business-to-business relationships. We need to think about who to partner with in this new environment so that our interfaces, be they B2B or B2C, are more consumer-like. 3.5 years ago, I ran the New York Marathon spontaneously with 16 hours of preparation and some carb loading consisting of 2 beers at Madison Square Gardens. Never ever try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I always knew the last 41.5 kilometers were going to suck. But at my disposal, I had something called the Nike Plus digital ecosystem. All of a sudden, I had access to technology that the likes of Chelsea FC or AIK Djurgården Hammarby, no matter what your team is, are using to professionalize sportsmen and women. I'm able to, as a result, make smarter decisions about my own health in the future, such as never ever run a marathon again. But the point around this is that Nike now has access to all of my data. I started running in a pair of Aces, but now, what kind of product do I run in? Nike, of course. And they know that when someone logs into Nike Plus 5 times, that they're more likely to buy what kind of hardware as a result of the software? Nike product. And now every step I take, every breath I make, I know Nike's watching me. And they can send out little targeted promotions to me saying, hey, we think your shoes have worn out. Feel like a new pair. Now, that might be difficult for the banking industry and because of regulations, etc., but it uses my data in an interesting, personalized fashion. Through mobile interfaces and mobile user experiences, our customers, be they B2B or B2C, can start making smarter decisions that are financially empowering them into the future.